Former union whistleblower Cathy Jackson has been charged with 70 criminal offences relating to her time as secretary of the Victorian branch of the Health Services Union. The charges are thought to relate to $1 million that Ms Jackson is alleged to have stolen from the union, money she's already been ordered to repay in a civil proceeding. Here's a bit of a reminder of the Cathy Jackson story to date. You might remember the extraordinary fly-on-the-wall access Cathy Jackson and her partner Michael Lawler gave the ABC's Four Corners program last year.
They might think I'm just this harpy that's just going to carry on, and I will, until the truth is out about what actually happened at the Health Services Union.
That performance came after a spectacular fall from grace for the former union boss. In 2011, she blew the whistle on former HSU official, federal Labor MP Craig Thomson, and HSU boss Michael Williamson, now in prison.
I take no responsibility for where Craig Thomson has ended up. What I do take responsibility for is cleaning up the HSU. As soon as I became aware of the corruption, I took my allegations to the police.
The then Prime Minister Tony Abbott praised her crusade.
Mr Speaker, Cathy Jackson is a brave, decent woman, and she's speaking up on behalf of 70,000 members.
You're married to Jeff Jackson. Married to Jeff Jackson.
But Cathy Jackson's hero status dissolved when it emerged that she herself had dipped into union coffers for her own benefit over many years. Last year, she was ordered to repay more than $1 million, but used that unforgettable Four Corners program to protest her innocence.
Did you, Cathy Jackson, take $1.4 million from the HSU?
No, I did not take anything like that or anything from the HSU ever. That I wasn't entitled to.
With me to discuss today's development is somebody who's followed every twist of this saga, the author of the book Planet Jackson, Brad Norington, writer at the Australian newspaper. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Leigh.
Is there any specific information about what these charges relate to? 70 counts is not insignificant.
Look, they're very serious charges, and what we do know is that they relate to alleged theft and deception. I think it's fair, given the shortage of detail until it is discussed further in court, that they are believed to relate to about $1 million that Cathy Jackson, the former whistleblower of corruption, is alleged to have stolen from her union. So it's an incredible turnabout that's occurred here, where in fact after exposing Williamson and after taking the credit for the former Labor MP Craig Thomson, that in fact Jackson is now the target of a major police investigation.
And would these charges, if proven, carry prison time?
Well, they are very serious charges, and we'll have to leave that to the courts, but Mr Williamson is now serving 5 years in jail for having defrauded the union of $1 million. He pleaded guilty to 4 charges, in dollar terms equating to about $1 million, after originally being charged with 50 offences. He did a kind of a plea bargain in the end. You would have to say that there is the possibility that Cathy Jackson faces time in jail.
And do we know if police are investigating her partner, Michael Lawler, as well?
We don't know that for sure, but certainly the police seem to have taken a deep interest in Michael Lawler. Cathy Jackson and Michael Lawler's house, south of Sydney, was raided in October of last year, and the police took away computer files and artworks, and I think it could be reasonably concluded that they do have some interest in Michael Lawler. You showed some footage a little while ago of the Four Corners program that aired last October, not long after the raid on Jackson's premises. Now, during that program, Michael Lawler did concede that it was possible that he in fact had received some form of benefit in the way of, say, international travel that could have been paid by the Health Services Union. But most of the police interest, of course, at this point is on Jackson, and it's an extraordinary tale because after exposing Williamson, it now turns out that she is accused of having used union funds for international holidays, for clothing, for jewellery, for a home mortgage, and even part of a past divorce settlement.
Well, let me ask you about that, because you have studied her intensely for your work for The Australian and for the book that you've written.
Yes.
What is it in her makeup that allows her to blow the whistle on colleagues who were found to have done wrong, while at the same time she herself was engaged in not unsimilar behaviour.
Well, perhaps one way I could explain that is to relate it to the title of my book, Planet Jackson. I was alluding there in a way to the parallel world or universe that people like Kathy Jackson inhabit. I don't think only she lives on Planet Jackson, by the way. I think Michael Williamson lived there too, and it's a planet in a way of delusion. It's a planet of, say, different moral values to what hopefully the rest of us have. It's a view where she and Williamson and others are right in what they do, and to challenge them about anything is to be on the bad side of things.
But did she not see that once she opened that Pandora's box that it had the potential to also unravel for her?
I think there was some supreme confidence in operation here because that she continued a myth, really. She built a myth around herself as a corruption crusader, and a lot of that, I think, was to distract from her own story. I think possibly at the urgings of her partner, Michael Lawler. It was a tale of redemption, that perhaps if she could blow the whistle on Williamson in particular, that she could assuage herself of some of her own wrongdoings. And she admitted during that period that she was not right. But of course the allegations she now faces are much, much more serious. The other aspect to this is that, as I put in Planet Jackson, there is a lot of evidence to strongly support the idea that this was a backdoor takeover of the Health Services Union in play by Jackson. And so if she had succeeded in that, that is in toppling Williamson before he toppled her, then it's possible that she could have largely buried a lot of the accounting practices under the carpet and kept on going, much as Williamson had for years.
Well, the story still has a way to run. Thank you very much for coming in tonight to share your insights.
Thanks, Leigh.